Hey, it's Ryan from All Forest Foods. Today we're going to start something that's very exciting that I've been wanting to do for a while. And I'm really down to the line, so I'm going to do this today and I'm going to share it with you. Before we get started, I want to say that this is going to be a two-part video series, and the reason why we're not doing this as one video that we shoot and then we wait and then we shoot again is because it takes about 2 weeks in between steps, and I want this to be ready for Valentine's Day. Right now it's the middle of January. That gives us a little bit of a buffer, and that gives you a little bit of a buffer. The reason why I want to do this now and get this onto the internet and shared with you is because I want you to make this. What is this? Well, this is going to be a spiced Valentine's Day wine that is beyond just spiced, because we're spicing it and we're enriching the wine with some very medicinal tonic herbs that are going to be particular for romance on Valentine's Day. We're going to include very warming and stimulating herbs, and then we're also going to include a couple herbs that are going to capture that energy so that it doesn't escape you. Before you get started, you want to be able to gather your different ingredients and equipment, so I'm going to run through those, and then as we're adding the herbs, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about them and why we're including them. So what we have here is we have a quart, actually that's a half-gallon mason jar. Now, if you don't have one of these half-gallon mason jars, you're going to have to find something that's going to be large enough to hold your bottle of wine, because we're not actually going to use this bottle, but we're going to use everything that's in it, and then also a little bit extra space to hold all of the different herbs, because they're going to swell and it's going to take up more space than just what's in here. So you want to find something. Luckily, I have a couple half-gallon mason jars lying around because I like to use these for, you know, if we make a soup, we use them to store it in the freezer or the fridge. You know, we use these for a lot of things, so we have a lot of them. If you don't have them, you could probably get away with using, if you have a glass mixing bowl, with putting some saran wrap over it. You don't want that plastic to touch, you know, the herbs and the wine as it's fermenting, but you can get away with that, or something else that's glass that you can seal. We have a bottle of wine. Now, I'm not a huge proponent of drinking wine. I'm also not against drinking wine. I spent the majority of my adult life being very against it, very ruled by dogma about alcohol. Now, as I'm moving in almost to my mid-30s, I like to challenge any type of dogma that I'm finding is dictating my life, and a big one of that is alcohol. So while I used to be very vehemently against drinking alcohol, now I embrace it. How that plays out in my life is I probably drink between 2 and 4 ounces of alcohol per month. I only drink organic wines or meads, things like that. I do not drink beer, and I never ever touch hard alcohol. As we know, hard alcohol just almost cauterizes your whole entire intestinal tract, killing any kind of a beneficial bacteria and other, you know, different things living in there that we need. You never want to drink hard alcohol because it has that cauterizing effect. But some wines and some other low percentage fermented alcohols can be fine. What we have here is an organic bottle of wine. Now, the organic wine industry is huge these days, so you can pick up something like this for under $5. The reason why I say to use organic, well, for 2 reasons mainly. The main reason is because it doesn't contain any sulfites. Any organic wine you find, by law, doesn't have sulfites. If you look at the conservative estimates about who's allergic to sulfites, it's 10% of the population. Now, they also say less than 10% of the population is allergic to gluten, right? We all know that's a complete myth. So if they're telling us that it's 10% of the population, I'd say everyone has a mild allergy to sulfites. You better just stay away from them. So organic bottle of wine, no sulfites. And also, for people that this matters a lot to, it doesn't contain any of the powdered fish that they use to clarify most alcohols. Again, that's another rule about organic wines. You know, anything that's stamped organic, they can't use the isinglass to clarify the wine. That's of course the fish. So we have the wine, we have the quart mason jar. Now we have our herbs. All these herbs I've measured out to be exact. Most of them I've measured out using a kitchen scale. If you don't have a kitchen scale, and if you're interested in working with herbs, I encourage you to pick one up. They're very inexpensive. I bought pretty much the nicest one that I could find. and it was maybe 12 or 13 bucks. It's digital. You can set the tare on it, which is very important. Grab one of these. You can get one at a kitchen supply store. You can also get them off the internet, anywhere. I got mine off Amazon. The different herbs that we have. I want to emphasize that we're using herbs that are very stimulating and very warming. We're also going to balance that with herbs that are intended more to capture that energy. Thinking about this in Chinese herbalism, which is how I tend to think of all herbs, regardless if they're Chinese herbs or Western herbs, we're going to use some more yang energy herbs, and then we're also going to use some more yin energy herbs. Now the yang herbs that we have here are going to be very warming and very stimulating. We have to balance that with herbs that are more yin. The yang herbs are going to add fuel to the fire, but we need to be able to capture that fire so it doesn't escape us. The yang herbs are going to be useless if we don't have a way to capture that energy, and that's what the yin herbs are going to do. Now, living in a Western society and living a Western lifestyle, even if we're part of this subculture that's challenging and confronting the Western values, we're still very yang excess. So you want to focus on those yin herbs to create the container for that yang energy to flourish. Without that container, it's going to escape us. It's going to make us feel very jittery. It's going to make us feel like we don't have any grasp on that energy, that it's just kind of a manic energy, like we drank too much coffee. So what herbs are they? We have Damiana. We have 1/4 of an ounce of Damiana. Now, some people think that Damiana is an androgen containing plant. Some people think that it's an estrogen containing plant. In fact, it doesn't contain any phytohormones. We're not really sure exactly how Damiana works. We do know that Damiana is a warming herb, that it's stimulating, and that it really fuels that sexual fire. So we're going to include it in our Valentine's Day tonic. It also has a very warming flavor to it, which is going to make this not just medicinal, but it's also going to make it delicious, because what use is a medicinal wine if you don't want to drink it, right? We're also going to add 1/4 of an ounce of astragalus powder. Now, astragalus is in my top 3 longevity herbs if I were to be forced to live on a deserted island, but I could keep a lifetime supply of herbs to bring with me. Now, astragalus would be in my top in my top 3. Very important for restoring your vital immune function. Now, vital immune function is your key to health. There's nothing else that's going to be as key to your health and your longevity as a healthy immune system. Astragalus is also one of the best herbs for your brain health. So what good is your physical health if you don't have that mental health, right? Well, astragalus gives you both. In terms of mental health, astragalus is number 2 on my list. Ashwagandha is number 1 for mental health. We're going to add 1/4 of an ounce of green cardamom pods. Green cardamom pods are warming, stimulating, and going to add that spiced essence to this wine that's going to make it perfect for drinking for something romantic in the middle of winter. And then continuing with that theme of a culinary herb that's going to add a very gourmet spiced quality that is going to not just be for flavor but also for our own warming and spicing characteristics is 1/4 ounce of star anise. Star anise is something that you might not have in your cupboard right now, but you can find at any place that sells bulk herbs. Star anise, if you're not familiar with it, it almost has a very root beer flavor to it. So if you can think about using a red wine with the star anise, and you can start to imagine where we're going with this spiced wine. We're also using, I didn't bother measuring it on the kitchen scale because it's such a small amount it wouldn't translate to you. We're going to use about a tablespoon of dried organic orange peel. That goes with the stimulating warming herbs that are also very delicious on the palate. Then to build that container to capture the energy, right? So if you think about the yang herbs giving us the fire, well, we need some way to contain that fire. So a power plant, you know, a steam power plant, right? Whether that's natural gas or that's nuclear, It produces the energy, but then it needs a way to capture the energy. If not, you just have a big bonfire with energy going into the atmosphere, and it's very chaotic, it's very excess. So if you can somehow contain that energy, you can use it. So the yang herbs are going to contain that energy so it becomes useful. To that, we're going to include ½ an ounce of dried goji berry. Dried goji berry is very nutritive. It's a very strong yin tonic. In the West, we think of it as restoring a lot of sexual energy, which in a way kind of challenges the paradigm of how we think about yin and yang herbs. We don't tend to associate sexual energy with yin herbs, but in fact in the West, most of us are so yang excess and so low on any kind of yin energy that any type of yin herb is going to create that structure to contain our energy, and it's going to give us a lot of the yang qualities that we're looking for. So to the goji berries, we're going to add about 1/8 of an ounce of Cassandra berry. Ideally, I would be using a little bit more Cassandra berry in this overall tonic to really build the nutritive, the very yin qualities of this. But Cassandra has a strong flavor. It's not that I find the flavor objectionable, it's that I don't want it to overpower or dominate this particular drink. I want it to remain very strong in the warming qualities and not so much on, tasting like Cassandra berry. Cassandra berry is a yin tonic. It balances all meridians in the body. It's also the #1 Chinese herb when you're thinking about beautifying yourself, both on the inside and on the outside. When you're making a tonic for Valentine's Day, when you're thinking about harnessing sexual energy, beautifying yourself on the inside and the outside is probably going to be the #1 thing that you can do to increase that energy so you feel good. That's the key. So then we have the, an 1/8 of an ounce of Cassandra. Then we have a couple ginseng roots. Now, I would say normally to include 1 ginseng root, but I went through and I actually just picked out a couple smaller roots. And the reason why is I want them to fit back into this wine bottle. So we're going to soak the herbs and let them percolate in the half-gallon mason jar. And then fast forward 2 weeks later, we're going to strain all of these. We're going to throw most of these herbs out except for the ginseng roots. We're going to put the ginseng roots back into the bottle. So I picked out a couple ginseng roots that are going to fit back in here even after they absorb that wine while they're soaking. If you're going to measure them, include maybe ½ an ounce of ginseng root. So now all we have to do, this is a very simple recipe. Once you have identified everything and you have them measured out and things like that, it's very simple. All we're going to do is we're going to throw them into this mason jar. So we have our 1/4 ounce of Damiana. Just put that in there. We have our 1/4 ounce of astragalus root powder. Put that in there. We're going to put our 1/4 ounce of green cardamom pods. We're going to put our 1/4 ounce of star anise. We're going to put our tablespoon of orange peel. Remember, always use organic orange peel. ½ an ounce of goji berry. Very nice. We're going to put in our 1/8 of an ounce of dried Cassandra berry powder. If you don't have Cassandra berry powder, I encourage you to find it and to incorporate it as much as possible into your tonics, into your daily routine. It's not going to be something that knocks you out on the first try, but given the correct amount of time, you're going to find this to be a very important herb for balancing all the different meridians and for beautifying. And then we're going to throw in 2 little ginseng roots. This is this is Panax ginseng, Chinese ginseng, not American ginseng. I was just saying American ginseng because I was thinking that if you are someone that is so yang excess, you would want to probably include American ginseng roots in this. And then we're going to cover this with the wine. If you want to speed this up a little bit, you can heat this wine up over very low heat, not so high that you start to boil the alcohol off. If you boil the alcohol off, this is going to rot and you're not going to extract, the alcohol is going to act as a solvent and extract the medicinal properties of these herbs. but warming it up a little bit is gonna help commingle that wine with the herbs. So we're just gonna pour this in here. You want to save this bottle. Just go ahead and wash it and set it aside. And the reason why you're going to save this is because after we let this sit for 2 weeks, we're going to strain this and then we're going to put it back into this bottle along with those ginseng roots, but none of the other herbs. Going to do that. Give this a little shake. And then you want to put this in a dark place, somewhere that's not too cool in your house, because the colder that this is, the slower it's going to work extracting those medicinal properties. You want to leave this for 2 weeks maximum. You can get away, if you're up against the line, you can get away just leaving this for 1 week, but give it 2 weeks to really do a full extraction of those herbs. So again, what we did right now is we made a spiced Valentine's Day wine. You can drink this in full glass amounts, and that's going to give you a boost of all of those properties that we went through. So it's going to give you that very warming essence. It's going to build your yang while also constructing the yin energy, which is going to contain all of that yang essence so it doesn't escape. Remember, I used that metaphor as a bonfire. If you just throw a bunch of fuel into the fire, it's going to be very chaotic. It's going to be very excess. It's going to not give you any real benefit. But if you can build that fire while building a structure around it so you can contain that energy and use it, then you're actually going to get all of the benefits that you're looking for. So we have the yang herbs, we have the yin herbs, and then we have the wine that we're going to use to extract it. Remember, this is going to be gourmet. This is not going to taste like something that's medicinal, that you're just trying to get a spoonful of the medicine down. If you're not drinking this in full glass amounts, I encourage you to use 1 tablespoon a day. You could use a little bit more if you wanted to. You know, you could put a little bit into a glass and drink it, but you definitely don't want to be drinking over the long term glasses and glasses of this. You want to at most drink 1 healthy glass a week, or like I said, a tablespoon or a little bit more per day. Perfect for a special celebration. Remember, that's why we're doing this right now, so that you have a chance to make this for Valentine's Day. Stay tuned, because the second part of this is going to come, where we strain this and we rebottle it. Thank you for watching. Please make this. Don't be limited. If you don't have every herb that I talked about today, that is fine. You know, subtract where need be, substitute where need be. The most important thing is that you include some of those herbs that are going to give us a very warm, regenerative quality. But don't be dismayed if you don't have the right ingredients. The important thing is to make it. Don't be afraid, just do it. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. We're going to be having a few more videos coming out in the beginning part of 2012. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're having an amazing winter. Thanks for watching. Bye.